Greetings and the best of salutations. And there are five. It is peace, power, prayer, patience, and prosperity. Today's topic of discussion that which comes the uh, from the spirit that resides and resonates in my soul that sends a signal to my mind, and therefore it is on my heart. What sparked this expression was that the I was um I was looking at the or experiencing at my age when it comes to relationships, human relationships, of interacting or trying to interact with the what is called the opposite sex. I like it the opposite to understanding, the opposite of understanding when it comes to sex. But that which you form relationships with, um, mentally, emotionally, some would say spiritually, and physically. I shared something earlier in regards to, and it got cut short, in regards to an aspect of an expression of human relationships and relationships when it comes to what is called male and female, and uh, make that which is designed to be productive. That which complements. I think that when you interact with people, you become very competitive with a mate, and then you become and you make concessions that is made, and then when you make concessions that is made, it could become complicated. I should say it's the second one. Then you make concessions, then you make concessions, then you learn to compliment, and when you learn to compliment, you learn to then you become complete. The competitive evolving process when you first meet, then it becomes complicated, and then you make concessions you make concessions, then you learn to compliment each other, and then you know the importance of completing each other. Yes. So I was thinking though, and that wise is that being on some of these sites now through the medium in which is being controlled, of trying to interact with um, the opposite, for lack of words, sex in the natural sense, and the um, older you get, the more challenging it becomes. Because you seem to be set in your ways. And but if we look back over our lives when it comes to a term called promiscuous transit relationships, is that you may attract something, or you and I may attract something that we may not necessarily want, but it may be something that we need. And we will elaborate on that later on, uh, sooner than later. And what I found out is that if there is no model that is set when it comes to relationships one with another, you stand to create your own model. Or if there is a model that was set and you just deviated from that model, that's a problem. So when you get a little older, you start to demand more. You want to demand more, and you place greater demands on others. Then sometimes you may place greater demands on others than you do yourself. And then you may place greater demands on yourself that you're unable to live up to yourself, you know. So it becomes very challenging, and it becomes very repelling to others who wants to engage and interact and form, a healthy relationship, you know. And it says that physical attractions are common, but mental attractions are rare. And when you find that, you should hold on to it. We know we're living in a society where there is social comparisons, of course, and through media, press, and television. They says that there's a saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Perception is not reality, but is on its way to reality. Then perception becomes a reality. That not necessarily is the reality. That is a reality that someone else has given to you. When it comes to what we are attracted to. Yes. If we look at the planets and how everything revolves around the sun, the planets or whatever, the planets have a magnetic force that they will let nothing contaminated come close to it. It has a magnetic field force that would not let nothing contaminated come close to it. So the question is, what has contaminated and corrupted our thinking when it comes to human relations and relationships? Excuse me, with male and female, you know, and to a point where it's that we we attract things uh, that we do not want, but it wind up being what we need. And what is the opposite of that? It's a good question. If some are thinking that, what if we attract those things that we do not need, and we wind up getting what we want? You see, let's look at the first part of it. When we attract those things that we do not want, and we might wind up getting that which we do not. I mean, wind up getting that which we need. You know, we look at something and we want it, and we're attracted to it, and we get it, and we want to protect that which we get. And it's like even a way of life. Some people got it and they want to protect it and they want to hold on to it. Way of life. That's natural thing. That's a natural thing. But you attract that which you do not. I mean, that you do not want, but you wind up getting what you need. Now, because there is a learning curve, there is something that we have learned. We can learn from that. Some people are not in a relationship with the person who they have engaged and produced a child, and maybe they're married and they're not they have divorced, what they call divorce. This, under this vernacular or colloquial language that we use here, and you wind up having a child, and the person that you thought that you wanted, you did not want, and you wind up needing that which you did not want because you wind up producing a child, and that child came into your life and you needed that. You see, and it's a beautiful thing. God is the best plan, as they say. So yes, so then that child, you form a relationship with that child, and every child we form a relationship with you, and we know the relationships are formed in the womb of the mother, of course. And so that's a beautiful thing. And then you and that child have evolved and have grown, and it slowed you down because the relationship that you did not want, but you wind up getting what you need. I'm talking about the learning curve, the learning curve. But then again, you wind up getting into something that you thought that you need. I need this, and you did not want it, and you wind up that you did not want it, and that's challenging within itself. because a child comes out and you said that you didn't want that child, and then the child starts to feel neglected and abandoned, and that's hurtful to the child. And in his human relationships, human relations, forming human relations with himself as well as with others, you know. Um, I believe there was a story about a sister who was known in the poet, and she had a child, and the mother say, "Do you love him?" And the guy who she had a child with, and she said, "No." She said, "Well, we're gonna love this child." You see, so that's what I'm saying. We have these feelings. These feelings that we have one with another, and we must not let these feelings consume us and get the best of it, because these feelings take a life on its own. When feelings take a life of its own, and it send you down a hole that you don't want to go, on a route that you do not want to go. So we have to deal with these feelings, but we have to bring the logic in. We have to make logical decisions, and not be too much emotional and driven by our feelings. And when it comes to our human emotions. So, what is the point in all this? As the Rolling Stones would say, and I very rarely use terms, and the individual, the poet that was known was Maya Angelou. Um, is that you may not get, you always attract what you want, get what you want in these relationships, but you wind up getting what you need. So therefore, we have to look beyond our own faults and look beyond the faults of others and see that there is a need. And when you see that there is a need, we realize that there is a service that you can provide. Huh? So our duty here on earth is a rent that is being paid to provide a service that will help your fellow human being when it comes to the development of one's intellect for the betterment of humanity, when it comes to our human relations. And do not place demands on others that you are willing to place demands on yourself, and those demands of which you place on yourself that you're unable to, to carry that yourself and deal with that yourself, and then you place it on others. Then therefore you put people in a role to be something that they not, and you may want them to play a role for you rather than you fulfilling your duty and your obligation in your role on this plane of existence. So in these human relationships, when we look at the word relate, and we got to do the word ion and ship. Ship has something to do with commerce or cargo, something that sets sail. Yes. So commerce has something to do with also financial finances, cargo. But the also could deal with something that when you're shipping something, you're parceling it out. You're conveying a message. You are exporting something, import, export, income, and outcome. Yes. And the relationship and the manner and way in which we interact with one another. You in, and then something comes out of the relationships. And that which we want to come out of the relationship is that we continue to learn, grow, assist, and develop in the best of ways in the foundation of establishing the human person one with another. Yes. And then we can mate that, huh? We can produce that, and it put us in a better position. Once the human person is the foundation that is established, then we can create productive, healthy, and whole relationships. Yes. So we ship that out, we package it, put it out. And then the I in the term relationships, the I, that which is focus, a single focus. It is says that some ethnic groups mate from the neck up, while others mate from the navel down. You know, base desires. And if people know that, they will prey on that. when they know that you mate from the navel down rather than the neck up. So the eye on the focus, the eyes on the light, or the knowledge that each of you bring to the table in this relationship one with another, of establishing the human person. Yes, for development of the intellect. I mean, development of intellect for the betterment of humanity. There was a story about a brother who's considered to be what the term radical. A good friend of mine made his transition, Don Vinny. He says, "What if he was a brother from looked like of a darker hue, um, Ethiopian brother? Even though some would say, well, they're not as dark as one perceived to be, but let's just come on now." But he says that, and then some would say, well, it's different in their thinking and so forth and so on. That's fine. That's cool. But he said, well, what if his the woman that he's married to? This is what Don Vinny said. What if the woman that he's married to is white? Because he's writing these radical books, pro-black, this stuff, and found out she was. And I said, brother, man, you're writing this radical stuff, and your wife is white. He said, brother, I married her humanity. Huh? And that's what we're talking about here now. When we talk about establishing the human person for the development of one's intellect, for the betterment of what? Of humanity. We have to be married to humanity. And what is hue? Hue is a carving out. It is the outgrowth. Character is the outgrowth of one's humanity. So we must keep our eye on the knowledge in which we bring one with another. If not, we will always, interact and make ignorant decisions. And ignorance is the result of hostility, as if there's nothing else to be learned, because those things that you think you learn, you realize that you really don't know. Then you say, well, there's more to be learned. So it's the all evolutionary process, the maturation process, as I call it. And the maturation process consists of understanding, tolerance, temperance/temperament, confidence, and respect. So it is the maturity that we have. The eye on the ship, the message that you are conveying in the goods and the services that you are providing and that we are providing in our relationship, in our exchange of energy, um, sexual or otherwise, one with another, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically, socially, you know, financially, whatever it is. This is the exchange. We're sending we're sending signs and signals and a message. We're sending it out by the example that we have set by establishing the relationship, establishing the human person. Yes, when it comes to the development of intellect for the betterment of humanity. So, and then the late. You ever been somewhere and you're late because sooner or later, you know what I'm saying? We must come to the realization of the importance of marrying one with another in relationships with our humanity for the development of our intellect, for the betterment of humanity, and establishing the human person in our human relations one with another. If not, that which we think that we need, we wind up getting that which we do not want. And then there's the issue of concern. So it's required patience. As I said this song about, I said, mama told her, be patient. Can't think of this name. Just be patient. And when you're patient, you start to evolve. You start to become more competent. It puts you at an advantage. And therefore, when it comes, you be grateful and thankful. Yes. So the is in the relationships is the reconnection. The reconnection. Or the Ra, if you put it RA, the Ra, the reconnections with the light, the energy. So we want to recollect with the energy in our human relations, male or female, whatever, in the human relation, that the energy be synergized. Huh? Yes. We're talking about the synergy of energy. Yes. And what's the energy? It's synergy. Uh, it is the constant flow. It is the continuity. It it replenishes the relationship one with another, hmm? Male, female, the relationship and the maturation and being mature in developing one's intellect for the betterment of humanity and the producing a product of goods and services, that the continuity, the flow of our confidence in cooperating with one another in our human relationships, it becomes replenished. It is a replenishing rather than a depleting. So when we in relationships one with another, it should be not a relationship that depletes you, but it should be a relationship that replenish one another, that we continue to replenish one another in the best of ways. And how we do that we let nothing on the outside come in on the inside. And even when we're in these engage in any sexual activity, it is the oneness, is the energy of exchange that bring forth the healing process, huh? Of becoming what? One at that moment and that place and time. And then that which we come out of that. And if the relationship is genuine, honest, and sincere, and we committed and dedicated to that anytime we interact and engage with one another in our human relationships, one with another, it is to replenish one another rather than to deplete one another. Yes, let us be clear with that. So I say, and I must say, and as I think about it, in these sites and what they call dating sites, and get to be my age and that which I pay no attention to, excuse me, until now. And sooner or later, I'm going to learn. Sooner or later, those things are going to catch up with us, and we be grateful that even though we attracted that which we uh, did not want, but we wind up getting that which we need, and that be to learn. And a child is born, and that child it becomes very meaningful. Gave you made is a mean has meaning in your life and value, and then we wind up attracting that which we think that we need, and wind up and then we wind up getting that which we thought we want. I mean, thought that which we need that we didn't want. You know, and even though that which we did not want, it does not necessarily mean that we can't learn from it. So relationships, it's a it's a learning curve, man. It's a learning curve, and first form a relationship with yourself. Some would say relationship that which is called God. But I just say, man, believe in yourself, man. And don't get caught up on your feelings, because your feelings will lead you to a hole, and next thing you know, you start to feel isolated and you feel all alone, and one thing leads to another. That's your feelings. So we got to get out our feelings, man. We got to get out our feelings, man. So we know that the human person must be established for the development of one's intellect, for the betterment of humanity, and marry into one's humanity, and then you share that humanity throughout the world. And maybe continue to realize is that we go through these phases it becomes complicated. I mean, comes we compete, um, and then we learn to. It becomes complicated, and then I forgot one. Then we learn to cooperate. When we learn to cooperate, we learn to complement one another, and then we learn to complete one another. I just forgot cooperate in that process, and it comes to uh, life experience and establishing human relations. Yeah, and we do so in the best of ways, um, brothers and sisters, and be careful not to place in the society in which we live. You know, place all these demands. Come on, because people can demand something that is conceptual, but not factual. You know what I'm saying? It's just a concept. Let us deal with the facts. You know, yes. So, yes, don't place those demands on those things uh, that you probably missed in life, and now you're placing greater demands, on others, and and you can't live up to them yourself, you know, and don't expect one to play a role that you want them to play for you. No one is your, we're not each other's, puppets, you know. So don't be trying to pull nobody's strings and play to be somebody puppet, a puppeteer, you know, because it's a dangerous thing when the puppet talks back to the puppeteer. We are our own individual, and the individual is the sum total as the whole. So yes, other than that, um, common humanity mission, promoters of the value of self-worth, communicated with precision a clearer image to the world through 5 channels of communication: understanding, tolerance, temperance/temperament, confidence, and respect. The mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all. The mission is to promote the value of self-worth. The cash app is CH Mission. CH Mission. You can donate $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. We always say give to the gift of social literacy. May we learn to use things, not people. When we move from, as Dr. King says, from a thing orientated society to a people orientated society. 3 centers of love: freedom, justice, and equality. These phases of love, this is a relative term, and interacting with one another, competitive. And once you become competitive, it becomes complicated. But then after that, we start to cooperate because we start to make concessions. And then once we start to make the concessions one with another, we start to complement. When we start to complement, we start to complete each other. But it starts primarily with you. Believe in yourself when no one else will. Believe in yourself. The first stage or step of deception is when we reach outside of ourselves. Don't be deceived by what somebody else says or what somebody else think about you. And don't get in your feelings and forming relationships of what you think about yourself. Follow the logic. Stay conscious. Let your conscious be your guide. Set a reset button. Pause. Inhale. Take a deep breath. And know that you are lovable as you are. And if you are lovable what you are, then you share that love with to others. I know this: a person cannot give what they do not have. Until next time, Reverend Wally Kevin, teachers of teachers, preachers of preachers, when it comes to reverence from the heart in the best of ways. Talk to you.